Welcome to the Women of Distance podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Kramer. These are the stories of motivated women chasing big dreams in the distance running world. You'll hear from women who are crushing it on the trails, the track, and the road. These are not just the stories of women's results at the top of the sport, but the full story of how she got there, the challenges, failures, successes, lessons, and life between the miles. Women of Distance is proudly supported by OpenFuel, responsible sports nutrition to fuel your adventure. Check out their products and their mission at openfuel.co and use code WOD for 20% off every order, every time. This podcast is also supported by Soar Running, apparel collections designed specifically for running, for high-performance racing, and also for off-road adventure and endurance. Find them at soarrunning.com. That's SOAR running.com. We are also kept caffeinated by our friends and fellow trail runners at Summit Roasters. Visit summit-roasters.com and use code WOD15 for 15% off your order every time. We'd love to see Women of Distance listeners supporting those supporting us. You can find all of these links and codes in the show notes, and you can also head over to the Women of Distance Substack to learn more about how I'm using these in my own life and training. Without further ado, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy. Okay, I am hanging out with Lindsey Dwyer. Lindsey, thanks for coming to the Women of Distance podcast. How are you doing today?
Hi, and Rita. We are great. My cat just walked, of course, perfect timing across the screen. Thanks for having us.
For those watching on YouTube, you'll get to see him too.
Yeah.
Thank
Happy
you
to
for
be
being
here.
here. Yeah. Okay, we are just about a week after the Cocodona 250, where you were fifth female in an incredible women's race. I really loved following the full depth of the women's race. Even before this event, I think that was kind of the story of the event.
Mhm.
I'm really interested to hear about that race. This was your second time. You took almost 7 hours off the time that you ran last year, which is wild to say, 7 hours. I really want to talk about the race. And before we get there, though, I want to go back into your history. Right before we hit record, I sort of already said this to you. One of the stories that came out of Cocodona this year that was so fascinating to me was what women are doing in the sport and showing that is possible, from the front to the back. Like, lining up for events like this is just inspiring. Obviously, Rachel won the race outright, and that was a big story, beat all of the men that were out there. And I think it's an interesting conversation to sort of open of like what that means and what that means for her, what that means for women, what that means for the sport, how it impacts people. And you have a very similar history yourself in the race that you ran right before Cocodona, the last race that you ran, Rio del Lago 100 mile. You won that race outright overall, above everybody.
Mhm.
And even just looking back at your history, there are so many races in your history that you have been first female, second overall, or in the top 5, in the top 10. It's a familiar subject to you, I think. And so I'm just interested to talk about that. That was a really long introduction. Before we get there, I want to go back further into your history and how you got here. When did athletics first enter your life?
Yeah, so I was one of those lucky people that I had really great role models, my parents. It was just part of life. Like I really just hit the jackpot. My mom was and is still a runner. And so I just grew up that, every day you run, you brush your teeth, you run, it's just what you do. You work out, you lift weights, you're just always moving, biking, walking, whatever, just very active lifestyle, even as a little kid.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, I really didn't even need to find the motivation. It was just part of life.
Expand on that a little bit. Like, what type of a runner was she? Was she running trails and ultras and that sort of thing, or roads? What did she compete?
Mhm.
Exercise? What did that
She
look like?
is a very dedicated rec runner. So she does about 30 to 40 minutes at a time. She has done marathons before, but usually she just goes for 3 or 4 miles. But what I love is just the consistency and the dedication to the sport. So she won't make excuses. We grew up in Texas. She still lives in Texas, my mom. It's so hot there, like it's not necessarily the best place to run. And we're in a neighborhood. It's not pretty necessarily. It's fine, but it's not inspiring like the trails here. I live in Moran, California now, where it's just so easy. I'm so motivated. I want to go out into the trails, into the woods because it's gorgeous. But she just does her loops in the neighborhood and gets it done. So very different style of running, but still getting after it. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like that example made an impact on you for
Mhm.
sure. Talk a little bit about where maybe running began to be formalized for you and became a real organized sport and organized training
Yeah.
competition, that sort of thing.
It actually really wasn't until about 5 years ago. I did cross country a few years in middle school. I was middle of the pack, nothing special. I ran high school again. Like I did fine. I made it to regionals, but never passed. And then in college, I discovered marathon running, like the distance running, and I loved it. And I really did not know what ultra running was. I thought I was doing the longest distance there was. Like, you top out at the marathon and like this is the long distance event. I just didn't know any ultra runners. It just was not on my radar until about 5 years ago. And then, wow, I learned so much about the sport and just have not turned back since.
Yeah, I can see that just on paper, looking at your resume, there's a clear, like, you discovered this and have been on a journey ever since.
Yeah.
Uh, Before we get there, though, talk a little bit about marathoning and what drew you to the longer distance. I think that that's, especially at a college age, is maybe unique to be running distances that far. What drew you
Yeah.
into it originally?
So I have always loved running. It's really quite simple. Just like let me go run and like I don't ever want to stop. So it was a natural progression into marathons. I've never liked speed work. So in high school when you're training, the typical like once a week you have a long run day. And for me that was Sunday. And I was just wanted every day to be Sunday. I wanted every day to be a long run day. And that's just kind of where I think the marathons fit in. I should say, should you run speed work to train for a competitive marathon? Yes. You just don't have to as much. Like, I definitely know the benefits of speed work. There's probably a lot of people out there like, "What is she talking about? We do speed work all the time. We're marathon runners. That's all we do, speed work." Um, but no, I just kinda wanna skip the speed work and run far.
So, talk a little bit then about where you discovered that the marathon was not the longest distance that you could run, and there were people out there not only running but competing in a sport that goes further.
I Okay, so I don't actually remember, so I can't answer that specifically, but I can tell you where I learned about the 100 miler. So
Okay.
somehow I figured out I could sign up for 100K. And being in Texas, at least at the time, there were not a lot of options. But there was a Possums Revenge, which they still do, and their medals are awesome, by the way. It's like this possum riding a rainbow. It is so cool. Do you do it for the medal? Maybe, but I signed up for that, and it's like 69 miles, so close enough to 100K. Sure. So I am so afraid of that distance. Back then, I was like, how is this going to work? I don't know. How am I going to get through this? And it was in that race that I was running and just chatting with someone. He'd become friends with anybody. I was just chatting with a guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm using this as a training run." And I was like, I think my mind just blew. It's like, "What do you mean this is a training run? Like this is the event. It's so far. It's 69 miles. This is your training run for what?" And that's where I started hearing about the longer distances even more than that. And I had so many questions for him. I wish I knew who he was. He was so nice and patient and answered as best as he could. But it was in that race. He was like, "Yeah, you look great in this race. You should sign up for a 100 miler." And I was like, I think maybe it was the perfect moment. The endorphins. I'm literally on a run right now. So you're already in your happy place. You're like, yeah, this is a good idea. So it was probably good that I wasn't sitting on my couch thinking like, oh, what could go wrong? So it was like immediately after that race, still on the runner's high, that I started Googling 100-mile races this summer. And there's a very large one in Ohio called Burning River. And that one can hold a lot of people. And they still had openings. It was like, I don't know, 6 weeks later. I really did not know what I was doing back then. I was like, sure, this seems like a good idea. Again, knowing nothing. And so yeah, just signed up real quick for my first ever 100 miler, thanks to this runner in the 100K. It was like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, okay. Didn't take
So it
much.
was a training run for you too.
I guess it. You know what? I didn't think of it like that. It yes, it did turn into that.
Expand on that a little bit. I will give a spoiler alert. You did win Burning River that year, right? That was
I
your first 100
did.
mile and you won the race as well.
And Possum's Revenge. It was pretty
Yeah.
wild.
So talk about that a little bit, like the experience of both of those races themselves, both like what you learned when you did run that far and conquer that distance, and then maybe what you trained or applied when you decided to try the 100 mile and go even further.
Wow. Okay. So I learned like so much. Also, there was still so much learning to be had. Looking at myself back then as a runner, I just like laugh. For example, I changed outfits and shoes in the Possum's Revenge 4 complete times, like 4 times, 4 outfit changes in 69 miles. I really just didn't know what it took to get to that distance. And I think that almost helped me just like really respecting the distance. Like it may be a little extreme, like maybe I was a little too fearful. But going in, trying to prepare for this crazy task at hand and just doing everything I could to get to the finish line and not taking it. Maybe if I knew more ultra runners, I was like, yeah, everyone can run 100 miles. They finish, I'll finish. But it wasn't like that at all. I was just so afraid. Can I get to the finish? How am I going to get there? What do I need to do to prepare? So I guess I was very cautious going in. And not knowing too much, I probably should have researched. I did a lot. I ran a lot. Like I just built a really big base and somewhat hoped for the best. Um, I mean, I think I kind of squeaked by in that win. I don't know. My only goal is to get to finish. I just was very focused on my race, and it wasn't really even a race. Just honestly getting the distance done. And I didn't really even think of it as a race. It was just I wanted to complete the distance.
What
So,
did you feel like coming out of that race, having done that, having completed the distance, and you did it well at the same time? Like, what were those kind of finish line feelings,
mhm.
and maybe in the first couple days afterward, what did that change in your mind or for yourself?
Yes. Well, let's just say one, I felt like I got hit by a truck. It is no joke running 100 miles, especially your first. What in the world? Like everything hurts. I wish someone warned me. Like, yeah, of course your legs are gonna be sore, but like everything, like my head, my skin, my stomach. It was rough. So it took a bit to like just like let me get to be human again before I can process like what just happened. It felt terrible. But then once I got over that, as you do, I was in shock. I did not come out to win that race. So I was like, what just happened? And then, I mean, it's kind of dumb sounding, but you have these thoughts. Wait, I think I'm good at this. You
Yes.
just don't know until you try, right? Like, I had no idea I was talented at this because I only know me and what I do. I just had never given myself the opportunity to go into a race, which naturally leads to, comparing your times with other people. So it made me take a step back and realize I guess potentially if I actually researched or trained with some sort of structure that I was just at the beginning of what I could accomplish. And there's just so much room for growth. So I was pretty pleased with the starting place I was beginning with.
It's a pretty incredible starting place.
Yeah.
Talk about then what you did from there. Did you do a lot of that research and figuring things out on your own, or was there someone in your life that was helping you to figure these things out and piece things together?
Yeah, at the start, it was pretty much trial and error, which I'm not saying is the best way to do these things. It's just how I guess naturally function. Let's give this a try. Does it work? No. Or yeah, that was fine. Um, it wasn't honestly until I moved to Marin, California, where I met this amazing group of people. They're a San Francisco writing company. There's a fantastic group run from there. And then just having friends and just talking on the trail. You learn so much just talking to other people. Um, it went a long way, little by little. It didn't happen overnight. It was just little tweak here, a little change there. Let's give this a try. It was a pretty, honestly, slow process, but moving in a forward direction. So
What kind of things have you been figuring out about maybe even just the style of racing that you enjoy or how to apply yourself to different styles of racing? You've at this point done everything from Burning River, which is for those who don't know, a very runnable 100 mile to like UTMB that is
mhm.
very, very mountainous. So how have you sort of figured out how to apply yourself to those different formats and which ones are you enjoying the most?
Honestly, I think it all stems for what do I enjoy? Like all of this. Like for me, running is fun, and I don't ever want to stray away from that. So what do I find interesting? What do I find fun? And I like running. I tend to lean towards the runnable courses. And I've
Yeah.
tried other courses here or there for multiple reasons. Um, but it's just honestly, it starts with interest. If your head and heart's not in it, then I know what's the point.
What kind of courses would you say are your favorite at this point? Or you just answered that,
Oh, yeah,
really
just
the
like
runnable.
runnable, and, it's what I practice too. I am so spoiled here in Marin, we have amazing trails. However, we don't really have technical trails, and I really started trail running moving here, so I like non-technical, super runnable trails, but that's what I practice on. Anything technical really stumps me or super mountainous. UTMB, that was kind of a weird one.
But you went back and you did it again
Oh,
and
I had to clean
learned.
that up. It was terrible. Year 1 was a mess, so I need to, yeah, do a little redemption running.
It seems like just looking back at your history, that's sort of your style maybe is to go and learn a race and
Yeah,
then come back and apply yourself differently.
very much so, which can frustrate my husband. Like, why don't we just, research this from the beginning and like actually come and execute? But I don't like I like the discovery element and the exploring through it. I think that's really fun and exciting versus being at home and studying the numbers and crunching data. Again, that's not why I run. I the enjoyment. I so it is what it is.
Yeah. I think you've maybe already answered this question, but my next question is when you started to discover and understand what the I don't even know what to call them. Uber Ultra is what I sort of keep referring to. The thing longer than 100 miles that
Ultra
not
plus
only
plus.
could you, but like there are actually races and people are competing at
Uh-huh.
distances like this. When did that enter your awareness?
Yeah, the really long ultras, the bonus extra credit ultras. So it all began 'cause I invited my friend Aaron Kabala over for breakfast tacos, being Texans, and we love those for dinner. And so he was over at the house, and my husband Matt had signed up for Cocodona 2024, and they're just sitting there eating tacos, just casually talking about running 250 miles, which was insane to me because I just had no idea how people could do that. At the time, I still thought 100 miles was crazy far, which, it is. 100 miles
It
is still
is.
very far. Let's not put those down. But they're just sitting on the couch, it's just so casually talking about this distance that is really hard to comprehend. But then the more I listen to them and having no, like knowing Aaron as a friend and knowing a person who's gone through it and lived it was really powerful to me. There's something about knowing a person, someone I actually know, talk about their experience versus just reading about it online. And for me, it clicked. Like, oh, you've done this, and again, it shouldn't make a difference, but to me, that's when like the light bulb went off. Like, oh, this is possible. Like, I run with Aaron. He's my friend. If I run with Aaron and he did it, wait a minute, can I do it? My husband's about to do it, and it's becoming more and more realistic. So now they're talking little details, and then I just got curious. That's where it all begins, right? When you get a little bit curious, and yeah, that's how it happened. And I tried to sign up that year, actually, 2024, with my husband that year. But I guess I was procrastinating a bit, and they closed registration prematurely with tons of spots still open. They had something with permitting issues, and I was like, "Wait,
Mm.
no, I was planning on doing this." So I learned a lesson there. Don't wait on registration. Like, just sign up. It's not going to change anything. So I had to wait till
I
2025.
I think that's kind of an impactful story and sort of what I'm referencing when we talk about the women's race and what we're watching women do in not just these races, but all distances, all formats. And like having that example and actually seeing it, it's not that you necessarily need that, but it's very powerful to
Mhm.
see it, to witness it, especially if it's somebody that you know and someone that
Yeah,
you can relate to.
yeah.
Um, Hey, folks, quick interruption to make sure to say thank you to Open Fuel for supporting the Women of Distance podcast. Open Fuel is responsible sports nutrition to fuel your adventure. Check them out at openfuel.co. Right now, I'm loving their Ultra Fuel drink mix with 60 grams of carbs and 500 milligrams of sodium all in one serving. Soon, they'll also be adding a gel mix to their product lineup. Again, check them out at openfuel.co and use code WOD to get 20% off your order every time and support the podcast at the same time. Find the link and the code in the show notes. Yeah, I think that's a huge piece of what's happening now
Mhm.
in our sport, in women's sport. Talk about that year your husband ran. What was that experience like
Oh
for
god.
you?
Okay. Like, okay. Let's also just say my husband, he's great. I love him. However, this race, we had the most fights for our marriage about this race that year. Just gonna say it because
Before you got there?
um he wanted to do this race completely like crewless and pacerless. And I was so afraid for him. I mean, he's strong, he could do it, but I just couldn't understand why don't you want help? Like, this is a long way to go. You're literally married to a runner. She loves running. Put me in coach. I want to pace you. But he had this idea he was going to do it, completely by himself, independent. Which props to that. Going through the race twice now. I know people do it. I mean, he did it. Man, that's a whole different beast going through that. So I was a nervous wreck. I was at home on the live stream. I'm sure lots of people lost a lot of time on the live stream, but I was just glued to the live stream day and night. Like, how's he doing? Refresh, refresh. How's he doing? Not that I could do a thing. Like, I'm here in a different state. Like, it really is not going to impact or help or hurt or nothing. I can't do anything. I'm powerless through the computer, watching his race. But after all that, he did it, and I was so proud of him, and it was really great having that experience that he went through that, so he could also selfishly come back and, like, tell me everything. Like, "How was it? Let's talk about it mile by mile." And his memory, because he was doing it by himself, um he had to really be able to take in the course and be really mindful because he had no pacer. So he had to be very aware during the whole race, which actually helped post race because he really learned that course. And so when it was my turn, it was just a great resource to have on my side. Like he just went through it.
What did you learn in witnessing I'm sure he had challenges and
Yeah.
obstacles along the way.
Oh yes.
What did you learn through him seeing how he faced those and also, like, how he recovered? Like, what was he like when he finished this distance, and did that surprise you at all or not?
Yes. Well, one, I just remember when he came home, I was like shocked. I was like, where did you go? Like he lost so much body mass. Like, it is
Mm.
no joke going through some of these distances. So I was like, "Oh boy, I don't wanna lose weight like that when I go through it." Like, making sure you are on top of nutrition the whole way and post, and hydration. And his blisters were insane. So really being on top and trying to address problems as soon as you can for foot care because that looked so painful. Um, I can only imagine. Well, those are
You
just a couple things.
mentioned
There's a long list, but
Yeah. You mentioned coming into your first ultra, that first 100K that, like,
mhm.
you sort of had a fear of the distance and were super, super prepared. Did watching him go through this, did that sort of instill any sort of a similar feeling in you for when you wanted to try it? Or did it maybe do the opposite and make you feel more confident in what you were planning to take on?
Mm, a little of both. I don't know how,
Mm.
but honestly, a little bit of both. There was the fact that I know what you did training, and like if you can do it with that training, I know I'm going to come in with more training so I can do it. But then it's just the fear of the unknown. Like, how does one go through it? What is it gonna be like? How is it gonna feel? And there's so many elements in Cocodona, which is both exciting but very challenging, right? You got the extreme heat, the cold, the elevation, the navigation, multi-day events. So I think again, I came in very cautious, and I don't really think there would be too much for me to come in prior being that confident until I had just gave it a try. I just needed to give it a
Mm.
try, experience it for myself.
So how did it go? What was that first year, first experience like? Let me ask this first.
Mhm,
What did going in for your first race, what
mhm,
did your training look like? Are you doing at this point a lot of volume? Are
mhm.
you doing speed work? What does training for something like this look like for you?
And we're talking about last year's race?
Last year's race,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, last year's race okay, so I'm naturally I trained high volume runner. I run a lot. Um, I guess people like looking at my Strava, maybe they're very bored, I don't know. But people keep commenting how many miles I run. I like running, run a lot. So honestly, I didn't run that much more. You really just can't. I feel like I was kind of at the top end anyways. So weirdly enough, I focused on the other stuff, not really the running. Just kept running a lot like normal and did a lot more focus on weightlifting and I did some Stairmaster and I did a little bit of heat training. Called it good or hope for the best.
Did you go down on the course at all and do any sort of time in Arizona?
No, I did not. Um, no, I'm a teacher, so I only get so many days off. So, yeah.
Okay. What did that first experience how did it go for you? Tell me. We'll get into the nitty-gritty details for this year, but
Yeah,
just a broad view from
um,
2025.
very
How did you
broad
feel about
because
it?
there's so much to say. It was so hard. Absolutely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Very rewarding, very memorable, and overall, I would say successful. A lot of mistakes made, but got the job done.
When do you feel like it started to become the hardest thing you've ever done? Like, where was that point that you crossed a line and
Mhm.
felt like you were in it?
Probably around mile 125. Not necessarily because it was the halfway point, but last year my breathing was so, so, so bad. And it got bad around mile 100. And so to go like a marathon on that bad breathing and to realize I have over 100 miles to go on this really labored breath, yeah, it was just going to be a fight to the finish.
How did you manage that?
Stubbornness. I don't honestly know. I I think it helped I had a team for many reasons. Obviously, a team is super helpful. They're there to help you, but they're my friends. They're there to support me whether I do great or horrible. But in my head, I was like, I dragged a whole crew to Arizona. Like, we're getting to this finish line. Like, I'm not. I didn't bring all these people together for no reason. So that was motivating.
What do you feel like you did well in the race? How do you feel like it suited your strengths or you responded well to the challenges that you had?
I think it was a good confirmation of my grittiness. Is that a word? Um, because a lot did not go well, actually. Like, it looks fine and dandy on paper, but, it really was not a great race, and what I am proud about, though, is that I did not quit, because there were so many reasons to quit, and I was definitely tired, and it hurt. Like, why not just call it a day? But my refusal to quit, I was pretty proud about when things got rough and tough.
You were second female at the end of the day. So, yes, on paper, it went very, very well, but I can definitely understand the experience being something different for yourself.
Mhm. But behind the
What did sleep what does sleep look like for you in that first year?
sleep, I got collectively about an hour and a half.
Wow.
Which I think was fair. And it's quite similar to what I did this year. A little less this year, but I also ran a little faster, so the ratio is similar.
Mhm. What do you feel like coming out of that race? Both, what did it feel like when you were finished, when you had done it, you had stuck it out? And let me start with that question first. What were your feelings finishing this monster of a race?
Your joy, happiness, Christmas morning, plus your birthday, all combined. Truly.
What was the recovery like?
Great, because I was so limited on breathing. I could do like walking lunges at the finish line. I could do squats. I just couldn't breathe. I just needed a new set of
Yeah,
lungs. Recovery was like no big deal. Sleep
that's incredible.
deprivation. You can't skip around that. Just
Yeah.
sleepiness, but like physical was fine
Okay. When did you know that you wanted to come back and do it again?
right away. I had left
Wow.
so much on the court. Like there was so much left to give. I was like that was good. I'm happy, but I know we can do better. So
So, what kind of things are you taking out of this experience to apply to already knowing that you want to come back? And I'm sure starting to think about how to. Like, what kind of things are you implementing, changing? What did you have in mind, maybe early on in the year, that
mhm.
you were thinking toward for the next time?
Last race coming into this year's race.
Yes.
Okay. Um, Figuring out the breathing, like what happened there. That's low hanging fruit. And gosh, there was so much. There's just so many mistakes, and it is so helpful just to experience it once. It's such a different ball game than a 100 miler. So just to get a grasp of like, okay, what is a 200 plus mile race? What is this all about? And now that I kind of know, we're gonna use the word kind of like in all caps. Now I can structure a plan that hits my like areas for growth. It's just really, yeah, it's just really helpful stumbling through your first one,
Yeah.
figuring out your weaknesses and your strengths.
I have two questions there. On the breathing issue,
Mhm.
I feel like this is a common thing that I hear
Mhm.
from people in this race. What did you figure out for yourself that it was coming from?
Yeah, so it does seem to be common, and I'm still trying to figure this out because spoiler alert, it happened again this
Mm,
year. I was like, "Are you kidding me? We did not come back just to go through the same breathing situation." It was a little better this year. So I think it's a lot of things. I'm not an expert, so this is just my theories. I think it's a combination of many things, including just dry, hot air, also cold air, and maybe the differences between temperature swings, cold and dry air. Just continuously breathing heavy for that many hours and days without true rest and recovery from sleep. High altitude for someone that lives at sea level. And
mhm,
then a big one for me, the dust. It's such a dusty place. Um, that I am asthmatic, and so I think it affects people with asthma more. It just,
mhm,
intensifies the symptoms, and you throw that all together, maybe some allergies, put it in a pot, it's just not gonna go well. So I went to the doctors last year and was like, "Something's wrong, like, there's no reason, I was so fit, I should have been able to breathe better." Like, it was so bad, I could not talk, it was hard to, like, swallow. I couldn't chew and, like, swallow and, like, walk at the same time. Like, I
mhm,
just couldn't breathe. And so they tested me for asthma, and for them, it was, like, super obvious, like, they kinda, like, laughed at me, like, "Why did you not come in earlier?" Um, my dad has asthma, I should have figured this out. So exercise-induced asthma, but the inhaler seemed to only do so much this year, which was a bummer because I thought, "Oh, good, I have an inhaler, at least I can keep my, airways open." But, yeah, I don't know, I gotta figure this out because it did affect other people too, but it
mhm.
didn't affect some. Like, it still did not affect the majority. There were still a handful or several handfuls of people who had breathing
Right.
issues, but still, I'd like to know the percentage. I feel
Yeah.
like it was
There,
minority.
it's definitely not uncommon, but yeah, like you said, it's definitely not affecting everybody
Yeah,
either at the
it
same
would be
time.
really great to be able to race with being able to breathe normal, the basics. Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, talk about, I'm curious, in the time in between races,
Mhm,
what did you, if anything, do differently in your training, in your life, in the racing that you set
mhm,
up along the way to
mhm.
getting back to Cocodona?
Yes, so big change. For the first time ever, I got a coach, Leo Pershel, started coaching me in January. And what's cool about Leo is he was actually in the race too. So like of course he's invested in his athletes, but he's like personally invested in Cocodona because he's in the race as well. So it's really fun being able to bounce ideas and concerns and all the things with him. And because I have a coach, my training is way more structured than it has ever been. So, hello, speed work. We are back. Now I guess I'm being forced to do speed work. Using forced
Forced.
lightly. Speed work is a good idea. You should do it. I just don't want to. Should and want, two very different things. So that's
Well,
been different. And my volume has gone down slightly, still pretty high, but more intentional running versus I like to go run. I'm gonna go for a run and call that training.
mhm. Had you started this coaching relationship in November when you raced the Rio del Lago 100?
No, we waited
Not quite yet.
till right after.
Okay. I want to take a moment to thank Soar Running for their support. Soar Running design and produce running apparel that does justice to the commitment and passion of runners globally. Encompassing textile innovation, pioneering design technology, sports science, and the real world experiences of runners. Their collections are designed specifically for running, for high performance racing, and also for off road adventure and endurance. And that's what I'm most excited about. Their trail line is specifically designed to be technical and durable for long adventures. It is high performance trail gear, blending innovative fabrics and detailing for off road resilience, function, and endurance. SOAR's innovation and ground up approach to product development results in a new way of thinking about trail running apparel. Check them out at soarrunning.com. That's SOAR running.com. So that was a separate training block then for that. Talk a little bit. I don't want to skip over this race
Yeah.
because I think it matters. This again was a race. If I'm correct, you ran it once many years ago and
Mhm.
then came back and ran it again.
Yes.
Talk about the second time
Mm.
you won the race outright. What was that? At what point did you take that position,
Mhm.
and what was that experience like?
I will never forget that experience. It was around mile 85 when I was in second place overall, and I passed first place overall, which was a man. And in so many races, as you kind of alluded to earlier, I have been in that position so often. I just like second place seems to be where I ride a lot. But I've gotten so close multiple times, but never have actually taken the lead outright. So it finally happened. And rewinding, this was not actually a goal of mine joining this race. Like I literally signed up for this race 10 days before. I just really love 100 milers and I realized I had not done a runnable 100 miler in 2025. And that's my bread and butter. I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, technically I ran UTMB, but that's a lot of hiking. I was like, I just want to run 100. I love running hundreds. So at the very end of the year, I like squeeze one in. It's local. I love the race director and it's a great race. So I was like, "Oh, let's jump in this race real quick." I didn't, like, start the race like, "This is the one," like, "We're taking the win outright." But then once I got to that position where I was leading, even though I had not finished the race yet, like, I literally just passed this guy, and he's great, but he didn't look that strong, and he was kinda struggling. So I felt somewhat confident, though anything could happen. I was like, "Wow, I'm actually feeling quite good, and he doesn't look the best." And then it, like, dawned on me, this could happen, like, this is possible, like, this is the race that it could all go down. And I don't remember the exact gap, but I think I ended up gapping him by, like, over an hour. I was just so excited and just, like I think I sped up and just never stopped. Um, it was incredible. I will
I
never
think
forget
that
it.
was my biggest question is the feelings that instilled in you and what both in the race itself when you realized that's the position you were in and holding that position through the finish and then coming across the finish line. I think at this race specifically, you were the first female in history
Mhm.
to win the race outright. Just like what did that mean to you?
I I mean, I started crying in joy before it was even over, just the fact, like, I got to that position to even make it a possibility, and I was really proud for myself, but also just, like, opening that door for others, like, look what's possible, like, why not a female cross first? Why are we expecting a man to cross first? Why are there 2 different awards for, like, oh, first female, first man? Um Yeah, it was unreal. But at the same time, it shouldn't be unreal. Like, we should start thinking differently.
When you came into the finish, was that the situation? Did they have overall awards and female awards? And, like, was there a how was that handled?
Oh, honestly, it was such a blur of happiness. People were just, like, shoving things in my hand. I don't really think I knew what was going on. Just like, "Oh, thanks. Oh, wait,
Uh,
there's more? Oh, thanks. Oh, another thing? Oh, thanks."
that's funny. Okay, so I'm curious then too, it seems like you've repeated this endlessly the whole time that we've been talking that you just really love this. You just
Mhm.
really enjoy what you're doing. And
Yeah.
so I imagine a lot of the feelings that you're walking away from are internal and
Mhm.
just the intrinsic excitement and motivation. But from the outside, like, does that external validation of like, I am capable, I can do this, does that mean anything to you in a broader sense? Like, as you're carrying that forward into your new year, into your next training block, your next racing season, do you take anything from that external validation as well, that that's the kind of runner that you are?
Um, I'm not sure exactly. I'm very, like you said, self-motivated. Honestly, what keeps me going is just self-improvement. So, like, what did I do last year and how can I do better? Really. Like, I keep it really simple. How can I
I
improve
had a
myself
feeling.
last year? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had a feeling that would be your answer. I think it goes to show that it's sort of that humility and love of the sport and what you're doing, but I think that the impact of a result like that and an example of that is really meaningful to people around you and people who see it. And maybe that kind of external validation comes to other people even more so than it is.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I can motivate others. That's always a good feeling. But I don't know. Sometimes the outside is just a lot of noise.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, coming back to I wanted to make sure we didn't skip over that story, but
Mhm.
coming back to, the new year, starting with your new coach,
Yeah.
in addition to speed work and decreasing your volume,
Mhm.
is there anything, like, specific from the race or specific in preparing for Cocodona 2026 or the course that
Mhm.
you were specifying or changing in this training block?
Oh, yeah. Where do I begin? I started practicing with a pack, which is like really basic things, but I needed someone to motivate me, I guess, to like put a pack on because I surely wasn't doing it on my own. So to put a lot of miles on wearing a pack, which is, you're wearing a pack pretty much the whole time in Cocodona. So practicing with a pack and practicing with the pack like weighted as if replicating Cocodona. And I practiced eating, which I am pretty I don't know what the technical term is. I call it cameling. Like when I run, I like eat a crazy amount before I run and then I eat immediately when I get back. But this training block, I needed to practice eating during running because of course you're eating and running all day long, all night long for Cocodona. So practicing fueling while running was a difference. And then this is also like basic things or like no duh. Using a watch. Really did not use a watch before this. As embarrassing as that is to say, I didn't really use a watch. So, having a map on your wrist, highly recommend. Very helpful in a race, especially when you're tired.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are, I guess, 3 takeaway or 3 points. I could talk longer, but 3 big changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can talk more. That's fine. I'm so intrigued and I'm interested. Talk about maybe you didn't race at all, I don't think, from November until Cocodona. I know
Mm,
you were signed up for Black Canyon, but had a
yes.
little bit of a niggle and decided not
Yes.
to race.
Yes.
What how did you feel coming into a race
Mhm.
without a recent race under your legs? Did that affect you at all, or
That's a
did you
good
feel
question. Yeah. You
yeah,
know what? It felt weird. It really did feel
yeah,
weird. I mean, the grand scheme of things, it's not that long, but it felt like a really long time. So I don't know if I loved it, but it is what it is. We made the smart choice that I had a small injury and it wasn't worth racing on because my big goals, Cocodona was a big goal. So we just bypassed my Black Canyon February race.
Do you feel like that is a decision you could have made for yourself, or was it helpful to have a coach in that
It was
scenario?
it was really helpful to have a coach. I think I would have come I mean, I'm so used to self-coaching. I've been self-coaching for so long. I would have probably came to the same conclusion, but it just feels comforting to be able to talk with another person and you both have the same outcome. So,
Mhm.
I guess it makes you just go with that decision, move forward versus waffling back and forth, and wondering, "Wait, is this the right decision?" So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So coming to the start line, fresh, ready to race.
Yes.
What actually before we get to the start line, let's talk a little bit about your team. Like
Mhm.
what goes into preparing for a 250-mile race? Who all do you bring with
Yeah.
you and what positions do you fill?
Yeah, I'm so lucky. I have such a good community here. It was just a team of friends and some family. Honestly, I was so stoked about my team. I already felt like I won. I was like, everyone's gonna be jealous of my team. They're gonna want my team. Like, it's not even fair that I have this awesome team of individuals. They're such cool people that I had on my team. In fact, I was jealous of the team themselves to hang out with each other. I only got to like hang out with one person at a time. But I had 5 pacers, and, I'm gonna say their names really quickly because they did so great. I had McKinnon and Nate and Mandy, McKay, and Cotsy, and they're all friends slash a new friend. And then on the crew side, I had my husband, Matt, and my sister, Audrey, and then Justin and Sam. So I had a massive team, which I love people, so the more the merrier. Like, that just excited me. I'm an extrovert, like, let's bring on the party. It's fantastic.
What does that look like logistically? Does
Yeah.
everybody stay together? Do you have multiple vans? Do people
Mhm.
drive in, drive out? Like what does that even
Yeah,
that many people look like?
yes. So, I think you can take this in multiple ways, like, it would make sense to kinda have, like, an A crew, B crew, and split them up into groups. We kind of didn't. My husband is great because he is a numbers guy and he can organize and manage people. So honestly, we delegated and tag teamed and I just stuck him on like, can you please figure this out? He's great at it. So I didn't really do a lot of it all worked out, we'll just say. We kind of just traveled, I think, more or less as one big group.
Did your pacers, did they each do one section or did you have people that did multiple?
Everybody did multiple, except for one person did one long section, like, she had a marathon worth of pacing.
Mm,
So that
okay.
was a long one. She's super strong, capable of doing more. So I guess that's the downside of a big team, because I think everyone's eager to run and they want to do more miles. But as me, the runner, I kinda had to be selfish, and it helps me having a change of person and personality and
Mm,
character. So I did prefer having more people for smaller segments instead of just repeating because they could have done more.
that makes sense. How often then were you changing out personalities?
As pretty much as often as the course allowed with the crew access points. The smallest segment was about 7 miles, so anywhere between 7 and 26 miles, depending. And there were a few
Okay.
sections where pacers aren't allowed, which is kind of unique for an ultra. Usually you get to a point and then you get pacers and then they pace you to the end. So that was kind of
Mm.
a weird one with Cocodona. There's 2 segments where pacers have to leave. But again, I had to remind myself, my husband, Matt, he did this whole thing without pacers. I can't complain, you know? How
Yeah.
lucky am I to have pacers everywhere I could?
Do you think that was a helpful coming back to that example? Like
Mhm.
you were able to pull on that and pull some
Yes,
confidence from that and
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yes.
I thought that was unique this year, especially at the end,
Yeah.
and especially if you were coming in at nighttime. That's a significant challenge
Which
to go up and
that
over Eldon alone.
that's what happened to me. I came in the complete darkness, and I'll tell you, the motivation was just not there. Like, "Hey, look, there's a mountain. Go climb up that mountain and then just come right back down that mountain." And it's dark, so guess what? You see nothing. Like, where are my views? Like,
The
where's the
view, right?
reward? I'm just it's just dark the whole time. I mean, the stars are nice, but yeah.
We'll come back to talking about Eldon. I'm curious about the details of the whole race. But coming back to the start line,
Mhm,
what were your plans going in? Like, do you go into an event like this with a plan for your sleep and
mhm,
like what your days, how those are going to break down
mhm,
ideally, and
mhm.
what does the planning look like for you?
Yeah, so I think planning is good. It just relieves a little bit of the stress and anxiety, but also knowing things often don't go to plan. It's just like a starting place. It's like a very loose structure. I don't think I've ever had a race actually follow said plan, but it's nice to at least have one to refer to. So my
Right.
plan was to take a rest around 2 a.m. ish. So however I was moving, whatever that looked like, the aid station that would get me closest to the 2 a.m. mark. And then I was going to kind of see how I was feeling, but lay down between 30 minutes to an hour each night.
Okay.
And we more or less did that. The first night, I could not sleep, even though I was so tired. I slept like 2 hours on Sunday night leading into the race. Don't recommend that. You
Mm,
should not enter a race with 2 hours of sleep. So I was so tired, but like the brain would not turn off night one. And so I eventually just like knocked on the van window. I was in a van. And like, I'm done. Like, let's go. This is getting nowhere. So I didn't sleep at all. But it was nice to be horizontal and have your eyes shut.
mhm.
That was helpful. So I probably laid there for 30 minutes maybe and then called it resting, not sleeping. And the second night was so great. I fell asleep in like 5 seconds. And it was 30 minutes of sleep that felt like when they woke me up, I thought I had been sleeping for like 10 seconds. I thought they were going to wake me up to ask me, "How long do you want to sleep for?" Unfortunately, it was like, "Time to go." I was like, "No, no, there's no way. There's no way." Like, it was weird. And then the third night, I probably could have skipped, but I just wasn't sure. I was very fearful going into Eldon. It was right before Eldon.
Mhm.
It was Wildcat, the aid station right below Eldon. I'm really bad at navigation. It is not a strong suit. I wasn't sure if I should go into Eldon without resting, so I went ahead and made the safe call, like the cautious call, and do another 30-minute sleep so I could have the highest chances of not getting lost, which was
Mhm.
probably a good call, I guess. But energy-wise, I probably didn't need it, but who's to say? We could go back and forth all day.
Right. 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 As you are getting ready to line up at this race,
Mhm.
as we talked about before we started recording, the women's race was the story even
Yeah.
before the race started. Like
Mhm.
the field was so deep and so exciting, so experienced. Um, Talk a little bit about just your feelings and being part of it and being in the mix
Mhm.
where you maybe perceived that you might be in that
Mhm.
mix at the start when you were standing at the start.
Great questions. First off, it was so exciting. Like the women showed up. Just like being part of that start line and that field was a very exciting place to be. And I definitely respect the competition. Like there are some really amazing accomplished female runners at the start line. So honestly didn't know how I was going to finish. But I thought I pretty confidently top 10, but besides that, I couldn't tell you. Um,
How much going into the race, and maybe this changes throughout the race, we'll get to that part. How much do you perceive this as a race in that you are competing with these other people, and how much do you go into it as really your own effort and you are looking to get your best?
I would say pretty much 99% for me at least was I'm racing myself. That was
Mhm,
really my full focus is I'm coming back because I know I can go faster. And
mhm,
yeah, there's people around me. Yeah, I want to place high, but I can't control what other people are doing. But I can control my performance compared to last year. And that was really
mhm.
my full focus. Which is kind of why I didn't
S
have a strong like goal that dealt with placement really. Like
mhm.
it really wasn't formulated.
Talk about excuse me, talk about day 1. What from the start line to that 3, I think you said 3 AM, trying to nap, not falling asleep.
Yeah.
What did the first day look like? How was the weather for you? How do you feel like you were moving? And what do you feel like you did maybe differently, the same, or better than year 1 that you were happy with?
Yes. So many miles to talk about. I think I did a really good job pacing. Like, I was very happy with my pacing. It was quite moderate. Like, I was moving at a good pace, but it wasn't crazy. Like, it wasn't crazy. Like, I knew I had a long race to go. The weather was warmer than last year, but it wasn't as hot as it could be. So I was just trying to focus on the fact it could have been hotter, versus like, oh, compared to last year, it's so hot. Um, I think the first day overall went well until I hit mile 50-ish. And I don't know exactly what, but my right knee started hurting. So that was unfortunate because you have 200 miles to go. I know, little guy. So I was trying to not to worry too much, but it was a challenge I had to deal with the whole rest of the race. So I was like, well, we knew this was going to be hard. I didn't think it could hit this quickly. Like mile 50 is pretty early, but here we are. The challenges begin. Um, but yeah, I think overall the first day was fine. It was
Do you have a structure to how you take that day? Like, are you continuously running? Are you planning any sort of walk time in there? What does the structure of that first day look like?
Yeah, I just walk whenever my like heart rate gets like it's perceived effort. Like once I get to a
Mhm.
certain point, if I'm just putting too much in, I just start walking. So for day
Gotcha.
one, that's generally going to be, almost every single uphill. So run the flats and downhill, pretty much walk every single uphill.
Gotcha.
Just keep the effort relatively low.
What did you do early on to help manage your knee? Obviously, you can't, like, fix it, but you've
Yeah.
you've got 200 miles ahead of you. What are you
Yeah.
doing to manage it?
I tried everything that I could think of. I tried switching shoes. I was like, maybe if I switch the drop, like maybe if I make a smaller or greater, I don't know, heel the toe drop, maybe that will help. Or what did I do? I tried poles, that didn't really help, like just to try to get some pressure off of it. I tried some Advil, that did nothing. So probably don't, then it was like maybe less Advil. Yeah, there's really few things you can do. I tried icy hot, that did nothing. There was like arthritis lotion I tried, that did nothing. Um, yeah, so I guess I tried quite a few things and nothing helped. So pretty much every step I took on my right side for 200 miles was like a different degree of ow.
Wow. Wow. What kind of mental tricks are you playing with yourself to be able to do that, to be able to work through it and manage that pain with so many miles yet to go?
Distraction, listening to music. Oh, little baggy. Listening to an audiobook, thinking about my kitties. My sister, I feel like she deserves a belt buckle. I talked to her for so many hours and that helped. That helped tremendously just to talk to someone I'm super close with. And that just helped keep me calm and distracted.
Mm.
So she like put her life on hold and I wonder if there's a way to probably check her phone log, how many hours I talked to her.
Wow.
It had to be like
That's
at least
incredible.
10.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Coming into day 2, you tried to sleep, couldn't sleep. Moving into that second day then without sleep. How did day 2 go, and how were you managing what do you feel like you did well on day 2 that helped you to get to day 3?
Mm. Feel like day 2 was just okay. Um, Day 2, I was very sleepy, and what I didn't have a new experience this year from last year was the heat, and the heat mixed with being sleepy, I just really wanted to take a nap. Like, when I felt the sun and just being warm, it just made you really lethargic. So I feel like day 2, you're too far away from the finish. Like, there's so many miles still to go that it just kinda feels like a slog. Um, so it was really, really challenging just to stay awake more than anything. Just caffeine, I feel like did nothing. I don't know why. But caffeine wasn't helping. Like music was actually putting me to sleep, even like the really like poppy, high beat or high tempo music was just making me sleepy. Like everything was making me sleepy. Um, and what did I do well? Honestly, I think I need to get back to you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. Like, I'm not sure what I did on day 2. I didn't quit. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
quit.
You made it through.
So yeah, I took the challenges and got to the other side.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. You were able to sleep then that night. That was the good sleep, the
Yes.
the 10-second perceived 10-second sleep.
Yes. 10 seconds of sleep. The best.
Talk about then how that changes your mental state coming off of this entire tired day and being able to get that sleep. What does that then do for you coming into day 3?
It really motivated me to get to the next night so I could do it again. So I could do it again. Like, wow, let's just get through this and then I'm gonna sleep for 10 more seconds and it'll be the best. But
Oh,
it
that's
it really
hilarious.
helps with everything, right? How do you motivate
Yeah.
yourself when you're tired? It all starts in the head. So if you're tired,
Mhm,
like, good luck. Like, I don't know how that's gonna work for you. Like, it all starts in the brain. And if the brain is tired and sleepy, then everything is gonna slow down and it's just gonna be a trickle effect or a snowball effect, actually. Like, you're just gonna slow down pace. So I think it is
mhm,
really helpful to try to figure out, and I'm still working on that. Trust me, I'm still trying to figure out how to fight the urge just to lay down and take a dirt nap because like dirt naps are everywhere. You could just lay down anywhere you wanted. So just yeah, more things to work through, figure out for next time.
What kind of things are you eating along the way here? That's something I haven't really asked yet. I know you're well, I don't wanna say I know anything. What kind of things are you eating, drinking, fueling with out there?
So I really love precision. I think it's very easy on the gut. And so I heavily leaned into precision products, gels and high carb mix. I don't think we've talked about this yet, but my breathing was really bad this year as well. So
Mm,
solid foods were like not an option. So that's
like
actually very
swallowing?
yep. The breathing came back and it was devastating. It was like deja vu. It was like this again. I remember how miserable it was last year, not being able to breathe and move as quickly as I wanted to. It was just frustrating. And that happened all again. And I was super frustrated. But all that to say, I couldn't, it was really hard to chew and on the go. So just liquids, liquid high carb and gels. So many gels.
Wow.
Actually probably I do have the number. I just don't have it on top of my head. How many gels I had.
I
But
think they posted it on social
yeah,
media. I can probably find it and link it.
it's a scary amount of gels.
Are you
So
taking any
more.
whole food really in between that, or are you
Um,
really
so my throat was so dry and sore from breathing so heavy that it took me forever to eat. Like normally I'm a really fast eater. Like I could probably join an eating contest. I should maybe try that one day. Like I can eat a lot quickly, but coming into these aid stations with a sore throat, it was just taking so long to get anything down that I was just like, you know what, let's just go. Like why start eating real foods when we were eating gels on the trail? Let's keep doing that. It's fine.
Mhm.
So I eat maybe some rice and some tacos, buddy. Um, that's about it. Some rice and some tacos.
Wow.
Maybe I'm forgetting something. We'll have to ask my crew, but mostly gels. So I guess,
Okay,
yeah.
when did the breathing issues actually start this time?
A little further down the trail, maybe like mile 130, but it was definitely for like
Yeah.
about half the race. And it wasn't.
So you had the inhaler this time. Was there anything else that you feel like you were able to do or that you had learned from last year to help manage it or even like just from a mental space help
Yeah.
you to
So
deal with it?
I think honestly thought that the inhaler was gonna solve everything. And I didn't really have backup plans because I truly thought, oh, I'm just asthmatic, which I think the dust kicked in the asthma, but there was more going on. Yeah, I didn't really have plan Bs. I
Mm.
tried cough drops, like just little things you can do on the trail, like cough drops or like a nasal spray. But nothing was really working.
Okay. Coming into day 3, Eldon is ahead of you.
Oh, Eldon.
Talk a little bit about the competition that was around you at this point, because there was a lot of change, I think, across maybe the last quarter, last third of the race. So, were you aware of your competition really at any point?
I was aware of my competition really on Eldon. That's about it. So I'm not really sure. I can say I was not. I was unaware until I hit Eldon,
Okay.
and that's fine with me. Like I was chasing my ghost from last year, and I was very aware of my ghost from last year,
Hmm.
and that was my competition.
Okay. So, talk a little bit about Eldon. You said you took a nap before you went up.
Yeah,
How were you feeling about your state at this point coming into the dark, going up alone, which
yeah,
was different than last year,
yeah.
and just your preparedness to tackle that?
Honest answer, I was over
Yeah.
it. I was done with it. I was like, well, that was fun. We ran a lot. Like, I don't need Eldon in my life. Can we just like skip? But no, that's not really an option. But yeah, it's kind of over it. Again, I am so lucky to have my sister who she is. She's amazing. It's the middle of the night and she lives on the East Coast. So I don't even know what hours it was there. But she was really worried about me. And so she would set her alarm every 30 minutes and she'd go to sleep and her alarm would wake her up 30 minutes later and she'd call me and check in like how you doing? Then she would set her alarm again for 30 minutes and that is how I got up for
Wow.
Eldon. I had like 30-minute check-ins with my sister. And sometimes I was like,
Wow.
has it been 30 minutes already? Like I don't think I moved. Like, can you check my tracker? Like, have I gone anywhere? Like it was just like this never-ending climb. Like it felt endless. But mentally, that was just me being tired and stark. Like, I want my views. I was pretty okay, like mental clarity, oddly clear, strangely clear. I wish I was less clear. I think that would have been helpful actually if I was less clear. To figure out how to work that into the strategy next year. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, and you said that you became aware of your competition on Eldon. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, I asked my crew where just the people were behind me because I think I had no motivation going up Eldon, so I kinda just wanted to know how slow can I get up this? Um, like, can I just, like, walk really slowly and be fine, or will I just, like, lose a lot of places? So I did start asking questions, but honestly, once I got up it, coming down was really fun. I was pretending it was UTMB. I would love to know my split. This could be like a false perception or could have been real. I don't know. I was like, let's see how fast I can get down this. And I was pretending I was like a downhill skier. I've never skied in my life, so this is very much pretend. But I had a lot of fun coming down. There was like no one around to witness. So honestly, I could have been like barely moving. And it's like dark, so there's no like lights, there's no like cameras. I would love to look that up. What my split was, just the down. I don't know, it shifted. Mentally, maybe I'm close. I think it's like once you get up Eldon, you know you're gonna make it. Like you've done everything. Like if you can get up
Mhm.
Eldon, you you've made it. And so I think I just got like excited and was like, oh, I can run, I'm fine. And then like total change of emotion and attitude, like whole new person. And it's still
Wow.
dark. So who knows?
Yeah. Okay. At what point in this final
Mhm.
stretch were you aware of how well you were doing compared to your previous splits and your previous self from last year?
I was aware pretty much the whole time because it's really obvious with the night and day. So like I remember
Mm,
like at this aid station it was dark. It was sunset. It was sunrise. So it was very easy to compare with that. And I kept asking my crew like how did I do compared to last year? And I didn't need to know like numbers. It was just like all I wanted to know was I went faster. It could have been like 1 second. It counts. It was like, did I do it? Did I go faster? Yes, great. Okay. We're good. That's all I need to know. Um, so yeah, I definitely knew I did better than last year, which made me really happy. I did not actually I did not actually know I was in 5th place till the end, like across the finish line. So that was a really cool fact to hear.
wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. So fifth place at the finish, 7 hours faster
Mhm.
than you ran in 2025. What are those finish line feelings like? Are you just happy to be done, or is there more depth to it at that the initial finish line?
It's happy. It's also a lot it's the feeling of satisfaction and proud. I was so proud.
Yeah.
I was proud of myself. I was proud of everything it took to get there, like the training. I was proud of my team because they had to work so hard. Like they were working. So I was proud of all the individuals that helped get me there. Like it was a we, like we did it. It wasn't just like, oh, I reached my goal. It's like, you guys, we did it. And it was just really strong, happy emotions. And also kind of weird. Like I kind of felt like I was gonna go for a run later. Like it was weird just to like stop. Like it just felt like it almost felt like, okay, we're just like pausing and having a dance party, but then we're gonna keep going. 'Cause, like, that's our life now. We just, like, run all day and we run all night.
Yeah.
It was kinda weird to be like, "Wait, we're done?" Like, it is almost anticlimactic. It's just like you get in this rhythm, you just go, 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 and then you just stop. Kinda like Forrest Gump, I guess.
Yeah. I've heard it's interesting to hear you use that phrase, "This is your life now." I have heard that in Backyard Ultra
Mhm,
that's going for multiple days that
mhm.
people just like, "This is your life now." You
Yeah,
just get into a routine
yeah.
and you just do it and you keep doing it, and
Mhm.
when you stop, there's a ghost of, like, the
Yeah,
hourly alarm and
yeah,
those sort of things.
yeah.
It's interesting to hear that in this format as
Mhm.
well, that it's, multi-day, that's just sort of what your body and your brain do,
Yeah,
is go into that mode.
yeah, it's 3
It's
full days,
fascinating.
3 full nights. You just like, "This is
Yeah.
what we do."
What do you feel like of the controllables? What do you feel like you did really well, and what do you feel like you would improve upon coming out of this year?
Yeah, I did really well prepping for the weight, the pack.
Mm,
But on the same flip side, I think I prepared too much because I got so used to carrying a heavy pack that like my pack was so heavy and it didn't need to be. Like it really did not need to weigh as much as it did. But I got so used to it, like, oh yeah, this is normal. I can do this. So that was both ends actually, both answers. And could have eaten more. I could have drank more hydration. I feel like it's so easy to say these things now, but in the moment, I was like, this is the best I can do. But
mhm.
I need to figure out, like, how but I was nauseous a lot, and so it's really hard to eat when you're nauseous, and but those are some big things that I know I can change. Yeah.
What was the recovery like for you this year? Both you've already raced r you've already run a race again. I won't say raced. You've run a race again. But maybe, like, just in that first day and then
Yeah,
across the full week, what has the
yeah,
recovery
so
been
I
like?
finished on a Thursday, and then Thursday was just like a daze. Like, it just, like it was weird, it's just a weird day, like, everything was just odd. Thursday was just an odd day because 'cause you're tired. But compared to what you went through and, like, you're not running, it doesn't feel like you need to, like, rest because, like, just not moving feels like rest even though you're not sleeping.
Mhm,
And then Friday was rough. I was just moving slow, like, you just are moving slow and walking slow and everything you just feel off, you don't feel like yourself, and the mental clarity was not there. It kind of
mhm,
just I feel like when I went to sleep on Thursday night, I realized I should not have been in public at all on Thursday. Like, I thought I was fine, but, like, I had, like, a fresh brain on Friday. I was like, "Wow, someone should have just, like, forced me to be like, 'You're done now. Take a sleep. Like, don't talk in public because like, you have no filter right now.'" Which was probably really entertaining, actually, I guess, for Thursday. Like, I was just saying whatever I felt like, whatever came
mhm.
to my mind. Um, Decision making was really hard for Thursday. Like, your brain just could not handle little things. Like if someone gave me too many options, it's just like brain freeze, can't compute, no answer. It's very I mean, it can't be healthy. You really should sleep. Um, yeah, Friday was also odd, but then Saturday felt much better. Like and then every day since it's just little by little. And if you were to like graph, I feel like recovery in different categories, like your physical recovery, your mental recovery, your emotional recovery, those lines are on they're on their own journey. Like they're doing their own thing.
Mhm.
And the physical comes back pretty quick. But the lack of sleep is no joke. That takes a long time. and you just have waves of being really tired and feeling like you can't do anything. And then you have like small bursts of energy, like, okay, I'm gonna be productive. And then you try to do very simple tasks, and then that makes you tired. Like, I think it's gonna be a long road to recovery, but every day is getting better. So I think it's not
That was going to be my
normal.
question. How far into that do you feel like you are? Like when do you feel like you were able to actually get a good sleep?
Mhm.
Because I know just with the physical discomfort, it's hard to
Yeah.
sleep sometimes at first.
Yeah.
And then how's that recovery process
I'd
going?
say Sunday night for me. So, however many nights that is. Thursday night, no good. Friday. I also traveled home like on a red eye on Friday night, so that was kind of unfair. That
Hmm.
night was shot. So I might have been able to sleep well on Saturday, but I didn't have that opportunity. So Sunday night was great. Being able to finally, but I would still, it was good enough, but it still was a lot of tossing and turning.
Hmm.
Um, sorry, what was what was the other part of the question?
How do you feel like that recovery process is going for you
Mm,
now?
very
It's for
well.
listeners, it's to
Yeah,
Wednesday. I almost forgot what day it is. So just about a full week
yeah.
since you finished.
Yeah, clearly at a stop and ask you what the question was again. That shows you we're not fully recovered yet. But I am starting to feel more like myself. I went for my first trail run today. Yes, I did race on Saturday, but that was like a flat road situation. It wasn't really racing. I was in a really fun race. I was not racing. And I honestly meant to hike or walk the whole thing, but oops, that didn't happen. But yeah, it's progressing. I think in a few more days we'll be we'll be back.
So, I've kept you on this podcast for a long time. I'm using a lot of your brain power here. 2 more
Yeah.
questions for you. The first is, what is coming up next for
Mhm.
you? I peeped your ultra sign up, so I have an idea. I'm curious to hear about it.
Yes. Officially, what's next is the Mammoth 200. Seems that I like this distance. Um, Miserable and magical all at the same time, says Taylor Swift. Yes. I might do something in between. July might be a good month to throw a 100 miler in. I'm playing with some ideas, but not anything official until I think that's the first week in October. The Mammoth.
Okay. I'll be really curious to see what the differences are in that race, like even just the environment and
Mhm.
how that impacts you and how that makes a difference for
Mhm.
you. And just interested to see how you take all of these learnings and apply them to a different event, a different place.
Mhm.
I think that'll be cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting
Yes.
too.
Mhm.
How do you prepare for the altitude for that from sea level?
Yeah,
Or do you just go?
great questions. I'll let you know.
We'll do the post race questions.
Yeah.
We'll come back
Well,
around.
no, I'll flip it to you. What do you suggest? Uh,
All right.
yeah, I gotta figure that out. Mhm. Yeah.
Coach helps in that regard too,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Final question to bring us back to a more philosophical point
Mhm.
is, if you could go back and give your 20-year-old self, your pre-ultra running self,
Uh-huh.
one piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh, one piece of advice. Man, like, go trail run. Just go trail run. Why are we running
I
around on
love
the
it.
asphalt? Like, what are we doing? Like, go find some trail. Yeah. You'll be really happy there.
I love that. That's perfect. Perfect piece of advice. Lindsay, thank you so much for taking your time to chat with me today, for investing your mental energy and chatting with me today. I really enjoyed hearing just all of the detail and what brought you to this point, and I'm really excited to just see where you go in this format and in the sport as a whole. And appreciate you taking your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mhm.